Welcome to another episode of 21st Century Rocker Mom Podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm always excited to talk to you. Allergy season. I want to take an allergy pill before I talk to you guys because then I'll sound like a big, crazy old dope and I won't make sense because allergy pills, let's just face it, allergy pills make you feel weird and they can make you feel all stony baloney. I don't need any of that. This week, we're talking about Team No Sleep and the battle for slumber. I'm like, if you heard episode 29, obviously Farrah Fawcett, that's me, is still hurting and still recovering from all the bullshit that goes along with what I did to hurt my back. If you don't know, you should probably go back and listen to episode 29 because I'm not going to tell you now because I'm talking about sleep, the love, the hate, the relationship that I have with sleep, that everybody has with sleep. I mean, some people have a really good relationship with sleep. So this episode is, you guessed it, it is everything about sleep and everything that kind of goes along with it. And in my particular case, I guess I will talk about the fact that I have a major lack of sleep since I have been a practicing insomniac since my early tweens, or maybe earlier. I don't know, probably earlier. I come by it honestly. You know, my dad is, an insomniac on both sides of the family. Like, he's pecan. We'll call that, my dad is pecan, Paul Candler. That guy does not motherfucking sleep. He doesn't sleep just like me. Like, I can call him at any hour of the day, and you bet that motherfucker's up. The only time, and he told me this flat out this morning on a conversation I had with him. I talk to my parents like every single day, even though they're divorced and they live in completely different cities and whatever. I talk to my parents every single day. They're some of my best buds and we have some of the best conversations, and I love my parents. I'm having a sip of tea with you. I hope you're having a sip of tea or a sip of something with me too. But no, I say, like, I come by it honestly. My dad, he's never slept as much as I can, as long as I can kind of remember. He's always been kind of like an insomniac, but like not in a grouchy, like I can't sleep way, just like in a, like I'm up, so I'm just gonna do stuff way. He'd always be the first one up, like making breakfast or making soft boiled eggs that you could kind of crack on the top and dip your toast into. And this morning he called me, and we called because we like talk generally early in the morning, and he called me earlier this morning to talk about diabetes because obviously his grandson and obviously our son has type 1 diabetes. And he was talking about the other day when I talked to him on the phone, Tanya, there's this guy with blonde hair, and he's got blonde hair, and he's a rock star, and he's a rock singer. Oh, you know him. I can't remember his name right now. So this morning he called me to tell me and ask me if I know who it is. He's like, I know who that person with type 1 diabetes is, and they're out there and they're kicking ass, and it's Bret Michaels. Tandy, do you know Bret Michaels? He's from Poison. And I wanted to like fucking die, like laughing my ass off, because it's like, fucking, of course I know Poison. They're of course one of my favorite like hair metal, glam metal sort of bands. I love Poison. I love the over the topness that is Poison. I love the excess that is Poison. So he had called me this morning to talk to me about Bret Michaels and his type 1 diabetes. And it was a really good and interesting and full conversation that I had with my dad. But again, he's like, I've been up since 4 a.m. The only time I pass out is from complete exhaustion. I'm like, I fucking hear you, brother. I hear you, Dad. I hear you talking. So I come by the insomniac kind of personality very, very, very honestly. And, in the earlier days of my insomnia, suffering, I would call it at the time. At the time, I would call it suffering. Now I'm not going to call it suffering anymore. But I would really like try to fight it. But the older I get and kind of the smarter I get and the less it changes, I've learned to kind of use it to my advantage and kind of use it for my creative process. So if I'm not sleeping, there are some weird happenings sometimes around the house at some weird hours. I keep some weird hours and do weird things. Like I'll write, if I can't sleep, I'll just get up and go outside and write on the porch in the pitch dark, like the back porch. 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody else is up, so it's just me. Or I'll go read a book, or I'll write a song if I'm like want to play piano or keyboard or something like that. Well, I won't play pianos, but keyboard, something you put headphones on. If I want to write a song, I'll just sit down and just be quiet. Or I'll have like a 3-hour cup of coffee by myself from 3 o'clock in the morning. Like I don't care. It's just I'm gonna use that time now to kind of be more productive. But I do keep really strange hours. Sometimes I'll have like a 3-hour nap on the couch from like 9:30 till like 12:30, and then I'll wake up and I'm like up for a few hours. Then I might sleep for like an hour or two, and then I'm up for like the day. And that seems to work for me. It doesn't work for most people because most people like to sleep and function very well on sleep, and I wish I could sleep, but I can't. I mean, I've tried everything and everything does not work. Like when I go to like doctors or like sleep clinics or sleep studies or whatever, they're always like, what have you tried? And I'm like, okay, here we go. You want it all? Here we go. We got meditation, body scans, yoga. No, like seriously, I've tried meditation. I have tried medication, you name it, and the doctors have tried me on it. I've tried to do like body scans, like visual body scans where you visualize like different parts of your body, like kind of shutting down, relaxational techniques, acupuncture. Again, like deep, like transcendental meditation, different mantras, yoga, vigorous sexual activity. Exercise, and I even like have the cool down period after the exercise. And I'm not just talking like sexercise, I'm talking like exercise. Go like beat the shit out of the punching bag or go like for a jog or anything like that. I've tried traditional Chinese medicine. I've tried cereal. People say having a bowl of cereal before bed's good for you, so I'll put a little almond milk on that, have a bowl of cereal or some granola or something before bed. No. We've tried, in the past, we've tried pot. I used to try to smoke pot to go to bed and like smoke quite a lot of it in the early days before kids. I smoked a ton of pot. And that was first kind of sleeping. And I've tried EMDR. If you don't know what that is, look it up, or I will put a little infographic thing on my Instagram and you can look up EMDR if you don't know what that is. I've tried ambient white noise, everything. I've tried everything. And I've been to every clinic and specialist, and so I say like I just kind of get used to the fact that I can't sleep, but like I try things and you get like weird effects, right? Like I tried like a lot of different sleeping medications, and I think now learning being on different sleeping medications and having tried them in my life, I realize that I'm a sleepwalker, I'm a sleep eater, and I'm a sleep fucker. I like, seriously, that's horrible. Like, so I remember the first time, this is the first time the doctor put me on sleeping medication. Someone had passed away like really close in my life, and I could not sleep. It was just like, I couldn't deal with it anymore. This is the first time I kind of like went to the doctor about sleeping medication, and I was like, I need you to give me something. Like I'm not good. And I don't know if they gave me like Lunesta, but I think it was, I think it was Ambien, and I'll tell you, that shit was a trip. Like it was a fucking trip. Ambien, I sleptwalked on that shit. I definitely remember waking up with strange cheeseburgers in my bed. Like I'd come home and I'd like barbecue. This is back when I was like eating meat. And I would barbecue like a couple of cheeseburgers and I'd, put some bacon on the grill. Like I don't friggin' know. I woke up with it beside my bed, but I have no actual recollection of the barbecue or like making the cheeseburger or assembling it or fucking anything like that. Ambien is part of a drug family that is kind of like Rohypnol, Rufinol, Roofies, like the day rape drug, Lunesta, those kinds of drugs. They're a sedative hypnotic, and they have properties in them that make you forget. They definitely have amnesic sort of properties. So thank you, school, for teaching me that. Thank you, pharmacology. I love you, school. Ambien is kind of like a scary thing. Like if I really can't sleep, I'll take one. But I remember the first time like taking that stuff, I had sex in my sleep and had no idea. I remember I was living with a person. They'd come over, or I don't know if I was living with them, and I got up the next day and they were in my bed and I was like, hey, how's it going? Hello. I'm like, I'm surprised to see you here. And I look in the garbage and there's a condom in there. I'm like, what's going on here? I was like, kind of like the cop. Hello, officer. I'm like, yes. What happened here? We had sex last night. I'm like, we had what last night? I don't remember. I do not remember having any sex last night. I did not have sexual relations. So I'll tell you, Ambien is a motherfucker of a drug. Like, it's crazy. So that was my experience with taking like Ambien, Lunesta, those kinds of drugs. Sometimes if you're not in a controlled environment, you should be if you're going to take anything like that to go to sleep. This is not sound medical advice, obviously, because I am not a doctor and I don't claim to be. But in my personal opinion, I think that if you're going to take a sleeping medication or something that is sedative or something like that, you should probably be under the care of someone who's not, and not taking anything like that to go to bed. You know, just in case something happens, because you don't want to be driving around on that shit. I've heard some stories, which we will get into later. But, you know, sleep has always been an obsession for me because of the way I've always been, like, chasing it. And I chase it every single day. Like, I try everything to try to get to sleep. I have tried more things, like, than just, like, medication and meditation and everything like that. Every night I try to still do this thing where I take a special bath. And I was actually laughing with my girlfriend about this a few days ago. We were on the phone and we were laughing. She lives, like, far, far away. Really far away, like plane ride far away, time zone far away, and she lives in a very cold country. And I tell her that I have these special baths every single day, and they're like anointed fucking baths. Like, I fill the bath with Epsom salts in the hottest fucking water possible, and then I put in like a lavender foam, and it's like beautiful. It sounds like a drink or something, except who the fuck would want to drink bath salts or Epsom salts? Turn some face-eating zombie. But then, no, like, I fill with lavender, and then I put in some Madagascar bourbon pure vanilla. That's like $20 for like a tiny, tiny bottle. But it's so beautiful. It's like a fucking, like, hooky for cookie. Like, it's like a hooker for Cookie Monster bath. Like, that's, if Cookie Monster was gonna pick up on a fucking bitch, he would pick up on a bitch who took that bath. It makes me a bit more relaxed having that bath every single night. I have it. You know, Rob takes the kids. It's my, like, bath time. I fucking had one this morning before I did this podcast. It was a hooky Cookie Monster bath. I smell like cookies, vanilla, lavender, happiness, rainbows, sunshine, lollipops. I got a new shirt. I'm wearing gold today. I love it. I got a shirt that says, "Hunt mushrooms, not animals." It's really cute. And I don't want to be preachy, like, vegan person. I don't really look at me changing the way I ate as, like, becoming a vegan so much, as that is just a way of, like, eating that doesn't make me fucking sick as hell. I love the benefits that it helps animals and it helps the earth and it makes my carbon footprint lower. There are so many good things about it that I can say. It's made me feel better, my skin better. It's not that way for everyone though. So, like, again, not sound medical advice. So if you're like, I'm going to listen to your podcast and become a vegan because you did, you better be getting, like, sound nutritional advice, and you better be doing it right. You know what I mean? I'm following super close nutritional advice and making sure I'm taking iron supplements the right way and they're derived from the right sources. And so, again, it doesn't fuck up and affect my sleep because I come from a family, of course, talking about all the mushrooms and the natural health of Polacks, basically, and gypsies, tramps and thieves. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves, as we hear from the people from above, they call us gypsies, tramps, and thieves. And every night, yeah, I come from a family and a culture that really relies on, like, dreams and meanings and their meanings. And there are a lot of cultures that kind of really rely heavily on dreams and their meanings and heavily rely on the interpretation of dreams. And I've always, even since I've been a little girl, I've always dreamt really, really vividly. And even when the doctor does give me medication and I need something for a spell to, like, get through a hump where I'm not really sleeping well, but I'll still get dreams, which is weird because you're not supposed to sleep and dream on sleeping medication. I won't get any more than, like, honestly, like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. It doesn't work on me and it astonishes the doctors and da-da-da-da-da. But, like, I've been dreaming vividly hard as, like, a kid. And I remember always having this horrible fucking nightmare as a kid. Like, now it wouldn't be scary to anyone. But to me as a child, it was scary. It gave me, like, a fear of an abandonment issue. Like, I remember being small, like, in the dream and being small, like, in life. Probably, like, 6 or 7 years old. And walking down, I can see this in my mind still, walking down, like, a pier on a boardwalk. But the boardwalk is, like, hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air above a beach. And then it goes out to water. Just tons of water. Like, looking like kind of California-ish kind of place. And my dad is way, way, way down on the beach. And this is my young dad, because this is way before he had, like, big beard. Still had a big mustache, but this is young Paul Candler. This is young Pecan. He's down on the beach and he's playing guitar and singing away to some, like, mermaids or some shit. Probably sirens. His luck. Who knows? He's singing away and I'm yelling down to him and he can't hear me. And so, like, that in my dream is, like, distressing. So I walk to the end of the pier and I jump down into the water. I fall or someone pushes me or something. I know I don't want to fall down into the water, but I do. And I fall into the water and I fall down, 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 down as deep as I can possibly fucking go. And I end up like talking and having a conversation with a whale. I have no idea why I can breathe underwater. And I have no idea where this dream comes from, but it's a reoccurring dream that I've had since childhood. It's fucked up. It fucks me up now when I have it. If I have this dream, I'm like, I feel fucked up for a couple days. I'm like, why is this here? Why are we still dreaming about this? But obviously it's a dream and it's a worst nightmare. And sometimes you feel like you want to wake up inside a dream. And that's almost like what I talked about in my episode when I talked about cults. Because I talked about having astral projection, and that's how I kind of got drawn into that cult thing, by astral projection, because I'd had so much of this stuff called sleep paralysis. You know, when you kind of freeze, you get that feeling when you're falling in your dream, and all of a sudden you you wake up and you feel like you just got a shock, and you just shock the shit out of yourself and you jump. Or when you're sleeping and you think you wake up, and I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but it's definitely happened to me. And your eyes are open and you can kind of see all around your room, but you can't fucking move. You can't talk. You like every ounce of you is trying to do something, but you can't accomplish whatever that is that you're trying to do because you're sleep paralyzed, and that comes with sleep paralysis. And there was a documentary on Netflix called The Nightmare about this that, of course, I watched, and I watched it years ago when it came out because I had experienced, obviously, the sleep paralysis, and I wanted to wake up in a dream because this is why I had joined this weird cult, because this is what they promised you could do. But I learned some other weird shit, but not so much waking up in dreams. But why not wake up in a dream? So with all this stuff, I had experienced anesthesia awareness as a child. So I thought if you could wake up during anesthesia, which you're not, you know, supposed to wake up at that level of consciousness, which with all the drugs and things that they give you, why not try waking up in the middle of your dream? You're not supposed to wake up in that level of consciousness either, but why the fuck not? When I was 10, 11 years old, I had like a big sebaceous cyst in my neck. If you don't know what a sebaceous cyst is, sebaceous gland is basically just your oil gland. So I don't know how it got clogged up, but I got a big cyst in there, and it was actually really concerning. One of my grade 3 teachers kind of saw it in my neck, and I said, there's something on my neck, and I kind of hadn't showed my parents yet because I didn't think anything of it, and I just said something to this teacher, Mrs. Lewis, that I had, and she said, show your mom and dad, and I showed them. They took me to the pediatrician. I saw the pediatrician, and they said, we'll monitor it for a little bit, but then after a while, it got bigger, so I had to go under a general, which is not my favorite, and I do not do well with generals. Again, I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day, because I come out swinging like a motherfucker, and after years of working in an OR, and seeing how people come out of general anesthetic, I am not the kind of person you want to have under a general anesthetic. Fucking ever. So I had to get this general anesthetic to get this thing out of my neck because they had to take a biopsy. I was about 10 or 11 years old, like I say. I was about grade 3. And so they had to get it out. So I had to go under a general. They got it out. It was basically a clogged oil gland. Everything was fine. But I experienced what I thought, I don't know then, but I do know now, was anesthesia awareness, because I was like drawing pictures and stuff, and I made a painting with all these doctors like in front of me, and I thought I had a dream that all these doctors were talking above my head, but I couldn't hear anything. And I couldn't see anything, I guess. Well, I could hear everything, but I couldn't see anything because they tape your eyelids closed when you have surgery or whatever, just so you don't open them, because some people can experience anesthesia awareness. It just happens. It's not a normal phenomenon, but it does happen, and it happened to me. So I would paint these pictures of these like people hovering above me in like doctor suits and stuff, like operating on me. And then so I learned as I got older, and I read a little bit more about it and science books and stuff like that. And the more people I spoke to and medical professionals I talked to, and then the more anesthesiologists I got to know, actually, we had some talks and talking to nurses and things like that. And we talked about anesthesia awareness, and they're like, I think you may have experienced it. I'm like, I think so too. So that made me really scared. So, of course, sleep paralysis scared the shit out of me. So I got into that movie, The Nightmare. And that film was horrifying. I mean, people leaving their bodies, they have this idea. Some schools of thought will argue that is your astral body that travels at night, that leaves your physical body at bed and at bedtime. And every night we travel from our bodies. Movies like Insidious have kind of shed a different, different kind of, I guess, light on astral projection and what people think astral projection is, and they kind of turn it into a horror movie. As much as I think that's a great movie, I think we leave our bodies every night. We do a little traveling. I'm out just being a bitch in the astral dimension, just doing my thing. But I really do think there's something else going on. So, unfortunately, in the nightmare, this astral and physical connection was so strong with some of these people. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, like they're having like dark beings come at them. They were having things that were scarier than just like sleep paralysis. It's like they couldn't move, but then they had things like pulling at their feet or dragging them, with them. So this film scared the shit out of me, because when I had sleep paralysis, I'd see things out of the corner of my eye, but not so much like I didn't have any like weird sentient dark beings in the room. And I remember this one guy on the nightmare talking about like a group of beings being in his room. One guy remembers from being like a baby and being in his crib and these things coming to him and the door glowing red. It's horrifying. If you can get the nightmare as a documentary, I don't know if you should watch it by yourself. I mean, you can if you want. That shit is scary though. But also, speaking, if you're going to be wide awake watching movies, you better check out Wide Awake on HBO. It's worth checking out too. It follows a gentleman on his journey for sleep. And I mean, he's tried everything like I have. And the guy, though, looks so fucking tired. Like, when I started watching the movie, I was like, I feel so bad for this poor guy. Because he just looked fucking exhausted. And he's just on this quest to get sleep. He's chasing sleep. He's talking to all kinds of people. They talk to his family. They speak with him. They speak with doctors, sleep specialists, gurus, you name it. If you have a fascination with falling asleep or you can't get to sleep, that's a good documentary to check out on HBO. Netflix also has some Headspace sort of little mini docs on there. They got some episodes about generating sleep, and it's like a Headspace presents the guide to sleep. It's more like a tool and an educational tool that incorporates mindfulness and meditation about sleep, but it also educates you and gives you fun facts in a very calming, sort of palatable way. They have some guides to meditation as well on Headspace. I think it's an app also. I want to say that someone I know uses it. It's like an orange happy little sun. It's cute. So they have things like they dispel myths about sleep, and they talk about different things about sleep, but they end every episode with like a mindfulness meditation or a body scan. And I think it's just to get people more on board with the medication aspect being out the door and the meditation aspect being more in the door, and trying to help people on their quest for sleep, because a lot of people aren't sleeping. And I'm not just saying it's just because the pandemic, because the pandemic started, and I know a lot of people that have like all of a sudden just started having sleeping problems because it started and things just got weird and anxious for them. So they don't sleep very well either. Like, how much sleep do we need every single night? The common myth you will hear every single night is you need 8 hours of sleep every single night. 8 hours of solid sleep. Listen to your mother, listen to your parents, listen to your grandparents. You need 8 hours of solid sleep every single fucking night to make sure that you have the most optimum day possible. That's not 100% true. The optimal is between 7 to 9 hours for adults, but that varies between person to person, because some people can really survive. And I say survive, I don't say thrive. I will say survive on not that many hours of sleep. I get by on 3 a night. It is what it is. Is too much sleep? Is there such a thing as too much sleep? You know, these people who sleep for like 13, 14 hours a day, and you think they're lazy as fuck. It's true that they probably are. And there is such a thing as too much sleep. Is there such a thing as too much of a good thing? Yes. Too much sleep can actually be really damaging for you health-wise. As far as breathing, obesity, sleeping too much can increase your risk for heart disease, different types of diabetes. You're not doing anything. You're just sleeping. Drinking booze can really fuck up your sleep. Some people drink booze and have a glass of wine to unwind at night and don't realize that really fucks up your REM sleep, like your REM, rapid eye movement sleep. Doodaloo, I got a notification just for you. No, it will fuck up your REM sleep. So booze might put you to sleep temporarily. Again, this is not my medical advice. This is my opinion and what I hear. I haven't had a drink for quite so many years, so It's been a long time. So I've been sober from alcohol for a lot of years. So booze fucks with your REM sleep. So you won't actually get to that stage. You won't achieve that. You might like pass out hard as fuck, but when you do wake up, you wake up like sweaty and you can't sleep and you kind of feel like shit and you might need to drink more booze to go back to sleep and that might not be a good idea. Exercise at night is really good for you. A lot of people say don't exercise at night. Don't go for a jog at night. You'll be too hyper if you try to go to sleep. Well, if you try to go to sleep right after you have a jog, then yeah, you're going to be too hyper. But if you have a shower and a cool down period and you let your body temperature come down to like a normal degree, then yeah, completely. That is a good way to get yourself tired at night. Or if you hit a punching bag, get yourself exhausted at night. Like I say, vigorous sex is one if you're in a relationship, or I don't know, vigorous masturbation. I guess if you're not if you're in a one-sided relationship, I don't know, do that. Get yourself tired. Tire yourself out some way. I don't know, for me, taking 10-kilometer hikes in the woods to fucking Mystery Falls with my entire family is a good way to get tired, because that was one day that I definitely fucked up my knee, had a wonderful time, but also slept like a log. My log has something to tell you, and it's that I slept like it. After I took a trip to Mystery Falls, Ontario. Now, Mystery Falls is just like a conservation area in the middle of the Ausable River. It's the Lower Ausable River, Lower Ausable region. The map says it's Milton, Ontario, which is bullshit because that's where our jail is and it's by Toronto, and I know I was nowhere by there. It's more by Park Hill, Ontario, if anyone knows where that is. It's kind of halfway between London and Sarnia, this Mystery Falls. So I kind of thought we were going to go to a waterfall, and I was like, let's take a picnic. We'll take the kids. We have to obviously take all the insulin supplies. That has to be refrigerated because insulin, we pack a lot of different things for diabetes and to make sure that everything is well taken care of and we're never in an emergency situation. And if we are, we have everything with us that we need. Enough insulin, extra insulin, lots of drinks, glucagon, which is like a medication for diabetics that if their blood sugar gets too low, it's an emergency medication to bring their sugar up really fast. We bring extra juice boxes. Like, I mean, we have it all. It's ridiculous. It's like Swiss Family fucking Diabetes Robinson. So we have like 2 coolers. It's a hot day. We take the kids for a hike. There's no one there, which is great because no one fucking knows where it is. I'm telling you now because I trust you. Look it up. It's called Mystery Falls. So we don't realize that it is like a 10-kilometer fucking hike to these falls. Holy balls. It was fucking crazy. And it wasn't like an easy hike either. And like our kids are 6.5 and 3.5 and they took it like fucking champions. Like this place was mostly uphill, root steps. Like I'm talking like tough terrain, and I hike a lot and I barefooted. Like I don't give a fuck about shoes. I barefooted. When I'm with the kids, I put on shoes because I want to be a good example. But like, I mean, I was wearing flats, like basically almost like flip-flops because whatever. And we had this 10-kilometer hike. Poor Rob's got like a fucking 10 to 20 pound cooler full of ice, drinks, insulin, lunch, like you name it. He's got it. And I've got a backpack full of juice boxes, a glucometer, glucagon, like anything that the kids need. Their water bottles, our water bottles. He's got another backpack on with things for like our youngest. There's diapers. There's extra changes of clothes. There's towels in case they fall in the waterfall. We got picnic blankets. We got the whole deal. We're walking through the forest, and I'm like, where's this waterfall? So we get to this sign. And it's like, you're 7 kilometers away. I'm like, I feel like we've already been walking like an eternity. So it was a long walk, but man, when we got there, what a beautiful place. They had some benches, and it comes to a clearing, and it's like a natural place kind of in the rocks that's been carved out by water. It's been ebbed away by time there. And there are some beautiful, very tranquil little waterfalls there. And there's a loop for the trail hike, so you can go right around in a circle and end up where you belong. But we did run into some people earlier when we were actually parked there, and there were people getting out of their car, and I was like, oh great, someone else found the spot. How? And then I found out they were Polish, so I was like, oh cool, these are my people, cool. And there are signs all over the places that there are bears, and then we just kind of said to them, like, very casually at a distance, watch out for bears. And they're like, what bears? What do you mean bears? I'm like, well, you didn't see the signs on the way here? I mean, they went back and looked at the signs, and they fucking booked it. They were gone in 60 seconds. People sometimes are not wilderness people and don't want to fuck with bears. I don't blame them. If you can get yourself to Mystery Falls, that is a hike that will tire your ass out. 10 kilometers at least there and then some back. That will cure, I guess, whatever ails you. And to that point, we'll talk about sleep disorders. I know a guy, and his name is blank. He has narcolepsy. I'm not going to tell you what his name is, but I do know a gentleman who would fall asleep while driving the car. He does not have his license any longer because obviously narcolepsy is nothing to fuck with. Narcolepsy is when you fall asleep for like literally absolutely no reason. Well, I mean, there is a reason medically, but you just, for most people, it's just going to sleep in the middle of nowhere. It's fucking horrifying. Thank God he doesn't have a license anymore and he can't drive. That scares the shit out of me. There's also something called Sundown Syndrome. That is when the lights go down and it starts getting dark outside and dark at night. This is mostly experienced by elderly people, mostly in nursing homes in a group setting. They start getting paranoid at nighttime when the sun go down. They get the Sundown Syndrome. And the doctor usually gives them a tricyclic antidepressant, something called trazodone. And it helps them not see like spooky things pop out of mirrors and, things out of the corner of their eye. But Sundown Syndrome is real. All those goings on when people try to sleep, all those tricks that your mind will start playing on you is kind of crazy. How long can you actually stay up without like sort of hallucinating? Because I mean, I've stayed up for a couple of days and it's crazy. And I remember staying up really late in Kitty one year. We went to Canadian Music Week and I had stayed up for like a couple of days. I couldn't sleep. And I was just like, I think I was like starting to enter that sleep psychotic part where you just start to feel nuts. And I bought these glow-in-the-dark underwear. And all the other girls were trying to sleep at Canadian Music Week. And we're like 14 years old, 15 years old, maybe. I think, Mercedes was probably like 13 years old. Probably between 13 and 15, maybe 16 at the most elderly, but I doubt it. And I was up like an asshole. And I'm like, I'm going to try to sleep. And I took some Gravol to try to go to bed, of all things. Like a total asshole. And I didn't sleep. I ended up dancing around in fucking glow-in-the-dark underwear. And all the girls woke up to was like a pitch dark room. Because they have like blackout blinds in hotel rooms. And just a glowing ass. Just dancing around. Just like follow the bouncing ass in the fucking air. And it was my ass glowing. And like I say, I've taken Ambien. I obviously didn't take Ambien when I was a teenager. But I've heard some crazy things about Ambien. And like I say, I was speaking to my friend in the north the other day. And she asked me, she said, have you seen Chelsea Handler's special that's on Netflix? And I said, yeah, I have seen it. But the funny thing is, when I saw it, I had taken an Ambien because I had an important meeting the next day and I needed to get some sleep. And I don't totally remember it. And I guess she had taken Ambien recreationally and was observed on it because she couldn't remember anything that happened. So I find this really, really interesting. So I'm going to go back and check it out. And I remember lots of stories about Ambien, especially in the press years ago, like Jack Nicholson saying he'd go out on drives in California and he'd go up those kind of like windy highways in Malibu and like drive kind of dangerously. And people would wake up on the beach, that lived in beach houses around Malibu, and they wake up on the beach not knowing how they'd get there. And the doctor's like, don't worry, these pills are safe. Most famously, you'll probably remember that Roseanne Barr got her fucking ass kicked off of the Roseanne reboot. It basically got her fucking killed off the show because she had an Ambien-fueled fucking Twitter tirade where she went apeshit on Ambien. I understand it has amnesic properties, but there is no reason to do what she did. Like, she said that Joe Rogan was right. I'm going to open my Apple iMac, my iMac here, my AirBook, and I'm just going to say that I'm going to read some of Roseanne Barr's tweets. She said, I think Joe Rogan is right about Ambien. Not giving excuses for what I did, quote unquote, tweeted in parentheses, but I've done weird stuff on Ambien, like cracked eggs on the wall at 2 a.m., etc. She said some fucked up shit on Ambien. What she said here? Like, I did not know how much fucked up shit she said, but she's like apologizing to all Americans. She's truly sorry about bad jokes in politics. Because, I mean, she made jokes about racism. She made jokes about politics. She made jokes about all kinds of things about the Muslim Brotherhood. She made fun of like the Muslim Brotherhood and the Planet of the Apes having a baby. She tweeted about that. She tweeted some horrible things on Twitter. And now, I mean, like, you can't erase that. So that is what Ambien did to Roseanne Barr. And like I say, it inevitably, no matter whether she apologized or not, I don't know if it made her more aware or she just wanted to apologize because she's like, I'm sorry for all the things that I did when I was drunk. But inevitably, it got her kicked off of fucking Roseanne. And I mean, she is Roseanne. So she said some pretty shit. Like, she said some pretty, really shitty shit. And it cannot be erased. I mean, it's on the internet forever. Like, doctors generally, that's not something they want to refill for you. It's something she even said. She says, guys, I did something unforgivable, so don't defend me. It was 2 a.m. and I was on Ambien tweeting. But that's funny when someone says, like, guys, I did something unforgivable, so don't forgive me. But it was 2 a.m. and I was on Ambien tweeting. It was Memorial Day too. I went too far and do not want it defended. It was like, it's indefensible, she said. I made a mistake and I wish I hadn't, but don't defend it, please. Thank you. To me, that just sounds like a half-assed apology. Sorry, Roseanne, but like, it's like, I did some fucked up shit, but I was on Ambien, so sorry. Like, when you're on, just apologize. Say, like, I did some fucked up shit. Like, Ambien aside, that was fucked, and I shouldn't have done it. I'm truly sorry. But yeah, like I say, she fucked up her career. And that is like the most famous thing I can think of where someone's talked about Ambien. I've heard about people like peanut buttering a phone and like eating it. But Roseanne's Twitter tirade was out there. But then there are the things that, like, when we can't sleep, that also play with our minds. Like, stay off the internet if you can't sleep and you're on Ambien, obviously. We got obviously things like scary movies. Like, there are internal and external factors that cause us not to sleep, obviously. If you got stress going on in your life, you probably won't sleep. If there's noise that's going on, if someone's using a chainsaw outside, unless you really like Evil Dead, you're probably not sleeping. Obviously, like, things like The Nightmare on Elm Street. If you watch a scary movie, especially something about dreams, like, fucking, you watch The Dream Warriors about Nightmare on Elm Street, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 9, 10, never sleep again. You're never fucking going to sleep. You're not gonna sleep after you watch some shit like that. You got stress, you got worries. Sometimes there are undiagnosed things like restless leg syndrome. Sometimes you got undiagnosed problems like parts of insomnia, like certain things that cause you not to be able to sleep. Hormone imbalances, things like that. You got sleep apnea maybe. Who knows what you have? Maybe you snore like a motherfucker. I know people that snore. I mean, I've been on tour. I mean, isn't southwestern Ontario just one gigantic, incestuous musical fuckfest? I was talking to a friend about this the other day because we were talking about sleeping and being on tour, and we were actually talking about like snoring, and it's just like nice to be at home and like not have to be on tour. And when you can sleep in your own bed, it's cool and stuff like that. Being on tour is great, but I was kind of saying like sleeping on a floor sucks, like if your back hurts, and because I've been trying to focus on things other than sleep, so I've been focusing on music. So I had finished a whole song, and I was talking to this person, and I let them know about it. And I've been doing so much music. I'm not sure, what I'm going to do with this music, but I think that it will be probably like just like a one-off single, and I'll just release them one-off singles. Maybe a video will be in there. Who knows? But we started talking about like the scene in like southwestern Ontario, how everybody kind of knows everybody, and I feel like everybody's just been fucking to bed with everybody. Not like everybody's actually had sex, but fucking everybody's played with everybody, or everybody knows everybody, or everybody's played with this person's band, or everybody's sat in for this person's band. So I say that southern Ontario music is just one giant fucking fuckfest. It's an orgy. It's a clusterfuck of musical front rubs. It's actually a good thing. I know a lot of people like kind of make fun of it and like the scene that is here. And sometimes I literally can't believe it myself. But I don't think it's horrible. I think it's great. So it's good to keep yourself busy when you can't sleep. What else have I been busying myself with when I can't sleep? Lots of day trips, obviously. I've been doing lots of physical stuff in the garden. It's so rewarding to do things that pay off right away. Like, obviously, finishing a song was a huge thing for me because I haven't finished a song it's been years. Years and years and years since I actually finished a song from start to finish. I'm talking notation, melody, words, harmonies, arrangement, every single thing. I'm ready to go. I have to record it, obviously, and I'm going to play everything on it, and I've done some scratchy little tracks on my phone. I'm not even close to releasing it anytime soon. Like, we're looking at closer to the end of the fall, people. Like, happy Halloween. That's when it'll come out. I don't know where it's going to fit in. People have asked me genre-wise. I don't want to stick it in a box and, like, genreify it. give it the genreification that it doesn't deserve. It's for me, so it's a song. That's what it is. I've been doing lots of physical stuff. Like I said, I've been gardening. My veganism has not fucked up my barbecuing because I still get to barbecue and smoke lots of meat for my family. So I love doing that. Even being a vegan, it's great. I still get to do all my barbecue, my meat smoking. I smoke myself a little bit of tofu. I smoke tempeh. I do deep fried tofu. I got a new cookbook. My friend Jenny V actually recommended a cookbook that I get, and I ordered it in the mail, and it's fucking awesome. Tried some deep fried, like crispy tofu. It ended up tasting like Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm not going to lie. It was fucking awesome. Then we got to talking about, we talk about the paganophile that lives inside of me. This person who loves beards. This girl, this woman who is obsessed with beards. I love beards. We got the Summer Crush collection from the Woolly Wizard. We haven't been at roulette for a bit because we've been working our fucking tails off like crazy at things, trying to get things going and moving along and trying to get things working. But we got the Summer Crush collection from the Woolly Wizard Beard Company, and it is so good. We got like a set, and it was less than $40. We had free local delivery. It's awesome. They'll ship it to you no matter where you are. You go on, check out the Woolly Wizard Beard Co. They have an Instagram if you check out Woolly Wizard Beard Co. And if you like beards as much as I do, you have a beard, they're amazing. This stuff smells like a fizzy orange summer drink, and it's great. You can check it out. It's on my Instagram. If you check out 21st Century Rocker Mom Instagram, if you check that out, you will see now that it's up there. It's beautiful. It smells so good. It reminds me of like orange fizzy summer drinks and just good times. It reminds me of going to Mackey's and getting attacked by seagulls and eating French fries when I was a kid. It's super good. What am I listening to right now for the summer? I have been listening to a lot of Jenny Lewis. I love Jenny Lewis. Like, I loved her since The Wizard. She was like my first girl crush. I love Jenny Lewis. And then actually Rob only found out about Jenny Lewis being a singer a few weeks ago, and now he loves her too and thinks she's great because he loves The Wizard, obviously. It's a great film about video games. You got Fred Savage in there with Jenny Lewis. Love The Wizard, but like I say, she was one of my first girl crushes, and she's still my girl crush. I love Jenny Lewis. Listening to her a lot. I've been listening to Jerry Garcia, kind of playing some kids' albums. He has an album called Not Just for Children, I think because I have a insatiable passion for the Grateful Dead. And he has like a version of the Teddy Bears Picnic that he plays that's fun. I've been listening to Misha and the Spanks a lot. Local Canadian band. You can check them out. You can check them out on Instagram as well. I've been listening to Viola Swamp on Spotify a lot. I listen to my good friends Thule a lot. I mean, they're not performing together anymore collectively, but I have my CDs to keep me happy, and you can find them on iTunes and Apple Music, and there are things like Patreon where you can support people. And I've been listening to bands like Fluffy and Rilo Kiley. I've been listening to Ron Sexsmith a lot, another amazing Canadian artist. I've been listening to Belle and Sebastian a lot. I've been listening to the Pipettes, which came out of the UK. They were a girl band. Their first couple albums are really good. They're fun. They have great harmonies. What have I been watching? When I have been watching things, I've been watching a little bit of, usually documentaries. Last weekend we watched The Jungle Cruise, and it was amazing. It was so good. The Disney's new Jungle Cruise, the live action version of it with it's got The Rock in it and Emily Blunt, and it was really good. I was impressed by the CG. I didn't think I would be at all, but I love Disney, as you know, and I love Disney World, and I do love that ride. When we go to Disney World, that's one of the ones I will use a fast pass on, is the fucking Jungle Cruise. I tried watching Val last night, the documentary about Val Kilmer that he did on Prime on Amazon, and I want to say that truly and honestly, trigger warning and spoiler alert, I couldn't 100% get through it. I got through, I want to say 40% of it, but since he's been so sick, I wasn't expecting what it was, and I wasn't expecting it to upset me the way it did. But I can truly say that it is an uplifting documentary. And like Rob said to me today, he watched the whole thing. I kind of had to turn my head and kind of turn my ears off for a little while and fall asleep, because it was, like I say, it's really triggering to see what he went through with his throat cancer and his surgeries, and now that his voice is... He essentially doesn't have one anymore, and it was a choice with him between breathing or eating. He has a trach now, so he speaks completely different. But it was crazy to see this archival footage and all these different things that he's kept. He's come a long way since Top Gun, but it's positive in a way that someone's had something so negative happen to them in their life in a way that they can turn around and make it into something beautiful. So that was something nice to see. I'm loving technology right now, and that I can talk to my friends all over the world via all the chats through like Facebook and Instagram and social media. Like I can talk to my friends for hours for free, and they live in different countries. I'm not talking just like America, other time zones, 6, 7, 8 hours ahead of me. And we can just talk to each other. I can send cakes and donuts through the mail and chimichangas and whatever I want. What was my treat of the week this week? Oh, I got some new t-shirts in the mail from Redbubble. I love that company because I understand they're like a knockoff t-shirt company. But what I do is I don't really buy too many band t-shirts from there. I buy t-shirts from local artists that sell their art there, and then they make a cut of the money, like Etsy almost. And I love it. So I got a shirt today, or yesterday actually, in the mail that says "Hunt mushrooms, not animals," and I just think it's cute because I love to eat mushrooms. I think they're really good for your skin. Like I say, it's not like a preachy vegan thing. I've always loved mushrooms. I think it's more of a preachy Polish thing. Because since I was a kid, mushrooms are like give you mushroom power. They make you stay younger. They're like the secret of our family and nice skin. My treat of the week has been this chickpea smoked almond like egg salad that I've made with this awesome bread that I've learned about. I got this grain sprouted bread. It's called Squirrely. It's from Silver Hills. You got to keep it in the freezer, otherwise it will go bad on you. But I've done these chickpea and smoked almond salad sammies with like a vegan mayonnaise. So if you can't have dairy or eggs or anything like that, or if you are vegan, this is a great sandwich to have. You mix like chickpeas, canned chickpeas if you're in a pinch, or soak some chickpeas, and mix them with some crushed smoked salted almonds, and then add in some veganese. We got some vegan mayonnaise, and you can make like a egg salad sandwich sort of out of it on this really good toasty bread. Oh my god, so good. This week I made the biggest, fattest Big Mac vegan copy. I almost died eating it, and I had to cut it with a knife and fork. And on that note, I will tell you one thing. That fucking made me sleep. I felt like Rip Van fucking Winkle after I ate. It was like a double Big Mac. So it was like 2 Beyond Beef patties that I made from scratch by hand. Like I bought the Beyond Beef and made them and seasoned them up with whatever I wanted, salt and pepper and magical seasonings. And I made myself almost like a Big Mac sauce. So it was like veganese, a ketchup that has stevia in it because I don't have a lot of sugar, and when I do, it's in those pops that I drink. So I try to limit the sugar and have it when I feel I need it. A little stevia ketchup, some veganese, chopped fresh Vidalia onion, chopped fresh homemade pickles, dill, and a little bit of maple seasoning. I put that in there. It's awesome. I put that on the burger with 2 slices of Violife cheese. And Violife is like cheese that comes out of Greece. It's made out of potato starch and coconut. It's vegan. It's amazing. It's really fatty, but it's tasty. Put that on a bun. It was so big I had to eat it with a knife and fork, but it fucking made my life better. I took a picture of it. I will fucking put the picture up on my Instagram and I will show you. If you want to come and check me out on Instagram, you know where I am. Or maybe you don't know where I am. I am on Instagram at 21st Century Rocker Mom. That's my podcast Instagram. That's where you'll see me doing my things. I do some lives once in a while. I'm going to be doing some live streams in September coming up. I'll be popping up on a few of the beard channels because I do love beards so much. So expect me there because that's where I'll be. Recording will be happening soon after some things happening with some TV shows around here. So come follow me. Come follow me. Come see me on Instagram. I want to see you at 21st Century Rocker Mom. I'm on Twitter at Tanny Candler. I don't do Facebook anymore. If you try to follow me on my personals, I'm likely not going to approve you because I probably don't know you. We've never met before. I hardly know you. That's creepy. But you know where to find me on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel. It's just at Tanny Candler channel on YouTube. You can find me there. You know what? Drop me your address if you're comfortable. You drop me a DM. If you drop me your address, I will send you a postcard. I get postcards in like every couple of weeks, and Kindness Mail is starting to come out again, so I am really excited about that. That's where I just send postcards out for no reason. You don't have to send me one back. I don't care where you live in the world. I will send you a postcard if you send me your address and you're not a fucking creep. I will send you a postcard. I have postcards going out all over the world. I just want to make sure I find the perfect postcard for you and your personality. So give me a couple weeks. Depending on where you live, you might have to give me a couple months. But I don't know what the mail's like where you are. It's slow here. But let's do a social experiment. Drop me your address. I'll send you a postcard. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you can sleep, because I certainly can't. But if you can't, there's a whole bunch of solutions for you to try there. And like I say, I'm not a doctor yet. But one day I'll get there. Dr. Feelgood. But have a good listen. Have a good week. I will see you next week on 21st Century Rocker Mom Podcast. I can't believe we're at episode 30. We hit 30 episodes. I don't know. Is that a season? You tell me. You tell me what you think. I love you. Bless you. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Happy Sunday. Happy Monday. Happy Fun Day. I love you. Peace. Love. Hippies. I'll catch you on the flip-flop. Bye.